You never have to apologize for your feelings because they're valid whether they're understood by others or not. Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me here today. If you're new, I'm Amanda. Welcome to the channel where we are all about shattering the mental health stigma and where I try to help people put their pieces back together even if they're feeling like a hot mess. So if that's something that interests you, make sure you make sweet, sweet love to that subscribe button. Give the bell a few kisses so you're not missing any of this content designed to help you with your mental health or help you help someone else. If you need a little more, you can check out my free 28 Days of Mental Healing Challenge. You can check out my free Stop Doom Scrolling workbook, or you can check out my Happiness Boost course that takes you through the exact steps I took to go from being on that ledge ready to end everything to getting up in the morning and feeling excited and being able to live a happy and fulfilling life. Today I'm going to be reacting to World So Cold by Mudvayne. Several of my Patreons have brought to my attention that it has been 2 years since I have tackled Mudvayne, since I've done a Mudvayne reaction. And at first I said, no, it hasn't. And then I went and looked and realized, oh wow, it has. So I'm really sorry that it's been so long since I have dove into the wonderful world of Mudvayne, but here we are today with World So Cold. First time hearing.
When passion's lost and all the trust is gone, way too far for way too long. Children crying, cast out and neglected, only in a world so cold, only in a world this cold. Hold the hand of your best friend, look into their eyes, then watch them drift away. Some might say we've done the wrong things for way too long, for way too long. Fever inside the storm, so I'm turning away, away from the night, away from the stones, 'cause I'm still mending the wounds of us. Keep your thorn, 'cause I'm running away, away from the games, away from the space, the circumstances of a world so cold.
How am I falling so in love with his voice and him right now? How am I crushing on him so hard? Yet it's been 2 years since I've done a Mudvayne reaction. I don't know what's going on here, but I feel like all I needed was another celebrity crush, guys. But I love when a good artist can manipulate your emotions like that, when you can be feeling melancholy, kind of a little bit guilty, and then all of a sudden they shift the sound, they shift the tone, they shift the lyrics, and all of a sudden you're feeling empowered within a 2-second span. It's incredible that they can do that. But this sounds like someone who's lost their faith in relationships and friendships and society and humanity as a whole. And it's emotional connections that have been strained beyond repair, this way too far for way too long, or it's that we haven't been acting in a way that's conducive to move forward as a society. It can be taken in a personal or in a broader sense, I think, but the metaphor of children crying and them being neglected in cold and caring worlds, I also think that that can be taken literally, as some children watch their entire worlds fall apart through death or divorce or mistreatment. But I think it can also symbolize the innocence that's forsaken in the face of cruelty and indifference, and the decision to turn away when you feel that kick, when there's that shift in the music and he's made that decision to turn away. That represents that moment of self-preservation, of rejection of a toxic environment, of a toxic society, of just being complacent. It's walking away from that. And the fever, storm, that imagery, that really is heightening the emotional intensity that we're feeling here and conveying this battle of overwhelming chaos.
Burning whispers remind me of the days I was left alone in a world this cold.
I feel some Chester energy here, and that is saying something, guys. This is really close to the sound I love so much from Linkin Park right now, and I never thought I'd be saying that. So that says a lot about how I feel about his talent. But it sounds like he feels guilty of the same thing, suggesting a shared responsibility in the suffering, but he's ultimately choosing to turn away from the toxic cycle. This is sounding a lot like narc abuse right now, right down to how they make you feel like it is your fault, like the bad situation is your fault, and the repeated imagery of the names and the stones, like the sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, or name calling is never going to hurt me, so to speak. I think that that highlights this emotional abuse. Well, the desire to escape the head games. Oh, the head games. I remember the head games quite well. But the negativity, that's what that is. The negativity, the gaslighting, all of that. The wanting to escape that shows this longing for peace that we all have because we know it's never going to change. Deep down inside, we know it's never going to change, and he's having that longing for peace and this inner chaos of how to best handle that, right? And he's feeling surrounded by enemies. And here's the thing, sometimes those people that are the bad guys, they were never the heroes to begin with. We saw them as the heroes, but they were never the heroes to begin with. We just had blinders on. They put on a really good mask, they put on a really good facade, and now we can see them for being the enemies, for being against us. Enemy being meaning somebody that doesn't have our best interest at heart. And he's feeling overwhelmed by that darkness and depression and expressing this need for hope, symbolized by the demand to bring the sun. I think that's wanting to bring light and healing back into his life. But maybe I'm projecting my own experience here, but I'm really feeling like this is talking about emotional abuse or narc abuse. But I am loving the sound of this song, and I promise you it will not be another 2 years till I get back into Mudvayne. First of all, I want to apologize to my partner for the emotional affair that I just had while listening to this song. Secondly, every time he looked at the camera, every time I felt like he was looking at me, I felt like I was just drowning in this emotion, drowning in his eyes, getting pulled into his perspective, into his feelings. And it was a very intense experience, actually. But I think when he's saying that he doesn't care, it's not malicious. I don't even think that it's apathy per se, but more like this decision to dial down the relevancy of the other person's words or opinions, or even the opinions of society as a whole, or even the atrocities that are going on, because there's a difference between saying, hey, this bad thing is happening and I'm going to take action to do something about it, and just getting pulled into all the negativity and all the bad things that are happening in the world all the time, because that will tank your mental health really, really fast. And I think he's rejecting the idea of being controlled or manipulated. He's saying he's not going to be a pawn, he's not going to be a slave anymore to his circumstances. And I'm taking this personally. I think that the song is very personal, but it can also say I'm not going to be a slave to the news. I'm not going to be a slave to these things that are happening in the world. I'm not going to be a slave to other people. I'm breaking free. He's finding freedom, he's walking away. Hopefully, he's breaking ties with the people or the outlets, the things that made him feel like this in the first place. But the repetition of never, how many times he said never in this to me, was almost like an anthem because it sounded like in that mindset, he never got to be himself, and now he's never going back. And I love that message. So please hold me to the fact that I will not wait so long for another Mudvayne reaction, because it's gonna be really hard not to listen to other songs outside of the channel. But I know you guys love Mudvayne also, so I don't want to deprive you of that experience, but it's gonna be really hard, so I promise it will not be too long. But make sure you're sharing your stories here in the comments. That's how we shatter the mental health stigma, is by talking about it. So good, bad, and crazy. Let me know your experiences down below. Give this video a thumbs up, share it. You never know who might need to see it. Now I need to go fan myself a bit, so I will see you guys later. I love you so much. Mwah.